Let us begin with the lesson think before you speak. It means that whatever we first of all think and then speak. बोलण्यापूर्वी विचार करा. तर अशा पद्धतीचं लेसन आपल्याला शिकायचं. देर आर सम exercise warming up you will be do by your own. Now lesson think before you speak. Man was meant to listen more than talk less. That is why the as great British statement Benjamin Disraeli said, nature has endowed man with 2 ears and 1 mouth. If man was the meant to talk more and less listen, he would have 2 mouths and only 1 ear. Imagine how we would have to look how the strange with 2 mouths on the 2 sides and 1 ears at the center. So now man has to mean listen less and talk, listen more and talk less, but man has to be did opposite of that, listen less and talk more. That's why great Benjamin Disraeli said, nature has the endured man's 2 ears and 1 mouth. Benjamin said that the man has the 2 ears means you have to be listen more and talk less. But if man means to talk more and listen less, you would have the 2 mouths and only 1 ears. So man has to be mainly talk more and listen less. If the man has the 2 mouths and 1 ears, imagine how he look like. The strange 2 mouths on the 2 sides and ear is the center. मनुष्याने अधिक तर एकावर कमी बोलावे असे असावे, पण म्हणून तर ब्रिटिश मुत्सद्दी बेंजामिन डिझेरलीने म्हटले आहे, निसर्गात माणसाला 2 कान 1 तोंड दिलेले आहे. माणसाने अधिक बोलावे आणि कमी ऐकावे असे जर त्याने 2 तोंड आणि 1 कान दिला असता तर कल्पना करा, दोन्ही बाजूंना 2 तोंड आणि मध्येच 1 कान कसे दिसले असते, आपण किती विचित्र दिसलो असतो, असं इथं ते आपल्याला या पॅसेजमधून बेंजामिन फ्रँकलिन सांगतायत. And the mind you, the ears are like funnel, open all the time. There is no door with which you can close them. Whereas if you have to speak even one single word, that word must pass through the 2 walls, 2 fences. There is firstly the fences of these 2 rows of teeth. There is the secondly the fence of the 2 lips. Before the word can be spoken, it has no pass, it has the first through these 2 walls, through these 2 fences. Therefore we must think at least twice before utter the words. So now it is the ears look like the funnel and they have open all the times, and there is no doors that has to be closed. That if you speak even a single word, that has to pass through walls and 2 fences, and this is 2 rows of teeth. Secondly, fences of lips can be spoken, it has passes. The first is 2 wall, these 2 fences, the thing least twice before we utter the word. आणि लक्षात घ्या की कान हे नरसाळ्यासारखे आहे, कायम उघडे. तुम्ही बंद करू शकाल असे दार त्यांना नसते. उलट तुम्हाला एक शब्द जरी बोलायचा असेल तर 2 भिंतींमधून 2 कुंपणांमधून जावं लागतं. पहिलं कुंपण म्हणजे दातांच्या 2 ओळी, दुसरं कुंपण म्हणजे 2 ओठांचे. बोलण्यापूर्वी त्याला 2 भिंतींमधून जावे लागते आणि 2 भिंतींचे कुंपण भेदून जावे लागणे. म्हणून शब्द उच्चारणापूर्वी निदान 2दा तरी आपण विचार केला पाहिजे, पण तसं होत नाही. न विचार करता आपण भरपूर काही बोलत असतो. A very wise man once remarked that of that unspoken words you are master, of the spoken words you are the slave. Once you have spoken the words, you cannot get it back. Do what you will, therefore, you must be very careful about the words that you speak. Once the words has left your lip, you will be able to not get back. Means a wise man once remarked here, unspoken words you are master. Means that if you are not produce that words, you have your control of the spoken words and you are the slaves. And if you spoken that words, that time you became the slave. That's once you are the spoken the word, you cannot eat back. Whatever the things you spoke, that never come back to you. Once you the spoken words, the words cannot be back to you. What will you? Therefore, you must be very careful about the words that you speak. So here you have to be very careful about that. Whatever the words you have to be speak. Once the words has left in your lip, you will not be able to get it back. So whatever the words you have to be gone through the lip, that will not come back. एका अतिशय चतुरसूज्ञ माणसाने म्हटले की न बोललेले शब्द तुम्ही त्यांचे मालक असतात, परंतु बोललेल्या शब्दांचे तुम्ही गुलाम होऊन जातात. एकदा उच्चारलेला शब्द कधीही तुम्ही मागे घेऊ शकत नाहीत. म्हणून जे शब्द तुम्ही बोलणार आहात त्याविषयी तुम्ही अतिदक्ष असायला हवे. तुमच्या ओठातून एकदा शब्द बाहेर पडला की तुम्हाला तो शब्द मागे घेता येणार नाही. Words are the unspoken words. They are thinking you want to say but remain unsaid as the thoughts in your mind. Once you have put the thoughts into words, once the words have to leave your lips, you cannot change them in your control. The unspoken word, we discuss about unspoken words that remain unsaid, that in your mind that unspoken words have, and you have to put the thought into words. Once the words have left in your lip, that cannot be changed in control of them. न बोललेले शब्द म्हणजे काय? तुम्हाला सांगायचे असतात पण न सांगता राहून अशा गोष्टी म्हणजे तुमच्या मनातील विचार. एकदा ते तुम्ही शब्दात मांडले, एकदा ते तुमच्या ओठातून बाहेर पडले की तुम्ही ते बदलू शकत नाही आणि थोपवू शकत नाहीत. त्याच्यामुळे we have to very careful about the words which we have to be spoken, and we have to be spoken that word before we think about that in our mind. The young man went in his spiritual teacher and said, I have spoken very harsh and unkind word to my friend, and it is deeply hurt, and I am afraid I have lost my friendship with him. How can I make amends? The wise teacher gave him a fresh sheet of blank paper on pen and said to the young man, write down on his paper on the harsh thing you said him. It means that there is one young man who had went toward the one spiritual teacher, and he said to that teacher, I have spoken the harsh and unkind word to my friends, and he had to be deeply hurt. I am afraid of that I have lost my friendship, and how I could amend. The wise teacher gave him the fresh sheet of papers and pen. He said, young man, write down the papers on harsh things you said him. तर एक तरुण मनुष्य त्यांच्या आध्यात्मिक गुरुकडे गेला आणि म्हणाला, मी माझ्या मित्राला कठोर आणि निष्ठुर शब्द बोललो आणि तो खूप दुखावला गेला. त्याच्याबरोबरची माझी मैत्री आता तुटणार अशी भीती मला वाटते. त्याने परिमान मी कसे करू? सुज्ञ गुरु एक कोरा कागद आणि पेन दिला आणि त्याने तरुणाला सांगितलं, ज्याला जे जे कठोर शब्द तू बोललास ते सर्व कागदावर लिहून काढ. The young man did as he has told and shows the paper to the sheet. That man has to be given the paper and shows to him and write down this thing on that paper. Now the tear up this sheet of paper into the many small bits as you can, and the wise teacher said, and soon the single sheet of the torn into the hands and tiny bits of paper threw it bits out of the window, and the teacher told him. So the man has to be said to the teacher, I had completed all these things, and teacher said that you have to be make the small sheet of the paper and tear that small bit, and wise teacher said the single sheet of torn the hundreds tiny bits of papers, and teacher said that you have to be thrown out of that window, and that was easily done. The wildly windy days, the tiny bits were scattered and far and where the young man watched. तर त्या टीचरला सांगितलं की तुम्ही जे शीट दिलं त्याच्यावरती मी जे काही बोललो ते लिहून टाकलं, आणि ते टीचरांनी सांगितलं याचे जेवढे छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स बनवता येतील, छोटे छोटे तुकडे बनवता येईल तेवढे तू त्याचे फाडून बनव. आणि तसं त्याने केलं, आणि टीचरांनी नंतर सांगितलं की तू ती विंडो उघड आणि विंडोतून बाहेर खिडकीतून बाहेर फेकून दे सगळे बनवलेले बारीक बारीक तुकडे. हे सगळं करणं त्याला एकदम सोपं वाटलं, पण त्यावेळेस वारा हा जोराने वाहत होता, आणि त्या वाऱ्याबरोबर हे सगळे जे बारीक बारीक तुकडे होते ते सुद्धा हवेत लांबपर्यंत उडून गेले. काही तुकडे त्याला दिसेनासे झाले. अशा पद्धतीने ते सगळं प्रकार चालू होता. नाव go out into the street and collect as many bits of the paper as you can, the teacher ordered him. At that time the teacher said to that man, you have to collect all that bit, you have to throw that there. the teacher ने सांगितलं की तू रस्त्यावरती जा, जे जे सगळे फेकले तू तुकडे ते ते जमा करून आण. तर त्यावेळेस the young man was taken back, but that was difficult, he stammered. At that time the man has to ask the teacher, it is very difficult sir, that has to be scattered everywhere. ते फार अवघड आहे आता जमा करणं, कारण ते लांबपर्यंत गेलेले असेल. It will be difficult indeed to, but you do give it try, the teacher suggested. जरी ते अवघड असेल तरी तू ते ट्राय कर, असं टीचरांनी त्या मुलाला सांगितलं. The young man went out. He returned half an hour and exhausted. He had not been able to get hold and single torn bit from the paper he had torn up just while earlier. So that man has to be means spent 1.5 hours. Later he came. Then he had not able to get hold single torn bit of paper that torn just has to be earlier while earlier. तर त्यांनी जवळपास अर्धा एक तास तिथं ते शोधण्यात घातलं, पण त्याला एकही कागदाचा तुकडा सापडला नाही. त्यावेळेस दिस इज द व्हॉट हॅपन विथ द स्पोकन वर्ड्स, जस्ट टीचर सेड टू देम, वन्स यू आर स्पोकन देम वर्ड्स aloud, it is very difficult to take it back. Therefore, learn to think before you speak in anger. So at that time, teacher said that you have to be spoken the words. That once you spoke the word aloud, it is very difficult to take it back. Therefore, learn to think before you speak at anger. तर जे काही आपण बोलतो ते बोललेले शब्द कधीच पुन्हा परत येत नाहीत. त्यामुळे जेव्हा केव्हा आपण मोठाने जोराने जे काही शब्द बोलतो ते पुन्हा येत नसल्यामुळे, आणि जेव्हा आपण रागात असतो तेव्हा ते शब्द बोलल्या गेल्यामुळे ते पुन्हा परत येत नाही, त्यावेळेस आपल्याला फक्त पश्चाताप होत असतो. तर अशा पद्धतीने टीचरांनी त्या मुलाला एक विशिष्ट पद्धतीने त्या सगळ्या गोष्टी शिकवल्यात. So now this is the wise man thought that you have to slave on your spoken words. Once your spoken words, it cannot be back. Whatever you can do, therefore you must be careful about the words that you spoke for speaking. Once the word has left in your lip, you cannot get back. You cannot take it back. You cannot change it and control it on that words. So now let us we have to stop here in this lesson. Think before you speak. Remaining part of the lessons we will be continue in after another video. Thank you.